gracious enough to invite me to speak. Magic seemed like an interesting subject, just because it's an illusion. It's, magic is magical. It's bullshit. It's very real all at the same time. So that was very appealing to me for a number of reasons that you'll find out as I keep talking. So I was born and raised in Miami, in Carroll City, which is now Miami Gardens, much fancier name than it warranted when I grew up. Like most people, I could not wait to get out of Miami. Like it was a life goal. I'm like, I gotta get the hell out. I absolutely cursed a lot, so I'm gonna try to be. Alcohol might have been involved with that idea, but I'm gonna go with it. So O Cinema opened 6 years ago. We now operate 3 locations. The one that you're in, which is one that opened 6 years ago. 2 years later, we opened in partnership with the Miami Theater Center, O Cinema Miami Shores. We program now special events there, so about once a month with special event screenings. And this November will be 2 years that we opened up O Cinema Miami Beach at the old Byron Carlisle Theater. And like our Wynwood locations, open 7 days a week year-round. Yeah, so a little bit about what we do here and how this kind of connects to the magical component. So in almost 6 years, we showed more than 300 films from more than 30 countries. I always am very excited by these numbers. One, because it shows the breadth of what we do and the scope. At first, when I started looking at 300 films in 5 years, it doesn't sound like much. A lot of films play multiple times. That doesn't even include some of our one-off screenings, and doesn't include anything that we've done this year. And then 30 countries is an important part because it shows that there is a whole world outside that you don't often see on movie screens in America, and that was important to us to connect to the rest of the world and to what is our local global community. And why is cinema important? And what does cinema do? So I'm not going to read off all of these facts, but these are some interesting things to think about as far as film and film culture. 70% of all Americans go to a movie at least once a year. That number, current of the films had them come out one right after the other. So we showed them back to back. After having done so, as proud as we are kind of what we do and this kind of magical experience that we create where you can come in and see yourselves, or you can come in and see stories of people you would not otherwise connect with, we got this email from somebody. Enough of gay or transgender freaking films. 3 in a row through the holidays. Plenty of straight people up here. Play 2 films at once early. No fear, now we have the iPick Coastal Theaters Lux. Serve the community, not the minority. These things are infuriating, as you can imagine. Nobody here at O Cinema is making a great amount of money. Nobody in independent theaters or independent film is making a lot of money. We do our work because we believe in it, and we sparked the conversation about consent, of all things. And that was really what I wanted you to think about. And it was, I'm not a vegetarian or vegan, but a lot of people say, well, if you're okay killing animals to eat them, why would you have a problem with having sex with them? And, it's presented for you to make up your own mind, but creating that also created this opportunity to have these conversations that unless you were like drunk or stoned, you would not really be talking about animal sex. And that was by just having faith in that. This is an interesting story. I think people are going to hear about it. It's crazy, and it's going to create an opportunity for further crazy conversations. I was glad to say I was right about that. Magic also happens when you surround yourself with good, smart, and passionate people. That has been absolutely true. I think in almost any kind of creative endeavor, you need to be in an environment that allows it to happen. And magic is in and of itself a creative endeavor. Right, you're going to take somebody on this illusionist journey. It feels supernatural. And when you see a film, you oftentimes, one that really connects with you, you feel like it's, how did this all come together? And an environment is so important to that. In Miami, we are lucky because one of the people helping do that is the Knight Foundation. We were founded with a grant from things that are quite magical. I want to talk to you just for a second about 2 of them that are coming up, and they're both happening here. Next week is the Third Horizon Caribbean Film Festival. Many of you might know Jason Jeffers, who is one of the co-founders of this festival. Been in this community for a long time. We love Jason. We've been talking about this for years, and his idea of bringing more films about the Caribbean experience and the creation of a film festival is kind of the natural extension of that. What started as a really germ of an idea, like we should do something. How can we do more? How can we make sure that the Caribbean community is represented on the big screen in South Florida, considering how large it is and there's almost nothing for them? That started with several conversations with Jason and a lot of his friends. We had these conversations. He made a short documentary produced called Papa Machete with John Kane, a big success at Sundance in Toronto. And now that German idea, because of the hard work, because of smart people working together, is going to turn into the first Caribbean Film Festival. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to be right in this room starting next Thursday. And that's kind of magic to me. Like coming from nothing, you're going to see a flawless 4 days of film and art and parties and beer, and all of that's created because it's hard work. You're not going to see any of the seams. Another real magical moment that's coming up is the release of this film. How many of you have heard about Moonlight? Awesome. Moonlight is a film that is set and shot in Miami, and it is based on a story by Terrell McCraney, who is a Miami native and playwright, MacArthur Genius Grant winner, and written and directed by Barry Jenkins, who's also a Miami alum. We went to high school together. And it is the film about a young gay African-American's experience living, growing up, coming of age in Miami. I had an opportunity to see one of the first group screenings, which happened here like on an early Sunday morning, and it is magic beginning to end. It is impactful, it is organic, it is real, and it's made in Miami. And it's a film that, while many of us might not be able to directly connect with everything going on, the overarching themes of the film and of finding oneself and of being true to oneself and of the journey it takes to get there are completely magical beginning to end. The film premiered at the Telluride Film Festival. It played the Toronto Film Festival. It played the New York Film Festival, all within the last few weeks. The acclaim has been universal. The critics are praising it. I think it's a phenomenal film. I'm very excited to say that just like the Third Horizon Film Festival, it is coming to O Cinema. It's probably the first week of November or the last week of October. The dates have not been finalized yet. I encourage you to come and see that and experience it here and support that film, because the way magic continues to happen is if there's an audience for it to happen. So those are two magical things that are coming up. I guess the kind of crux of this what is magic conversation is about being surrounded by people who allow magic to happen, creating an environment where it can happen. Ultimately, I think it's all summed up on this slide for me, and it's by my favorite, John Waters, who I adore. And it says, I've figured out how to never be around assholes at any time in my personal and professional life. And that's true. That is, you have to kind of suffer fools gladly, but you should suffer less and less of them as you get older and as you do your work. And if you want the illusion of magic to happen, if you want these moments that are meaningful and feel out of this world, you want to be in environments that offer that. You want to be like surrounded by people that allow for that. So if you have an asshole in your life, it's time to get rid of them. That's basically what I'm saying. And my staff are probably all, I think they're like, he's talking about not letting assholes in your life? But I'm a lovable asshole. So obviously there's more here. So that is all I have. Thank you.